Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss the Python concepts which you need to know to clear CPA or IRA or PRA. I'm going to split these concepts into three parts. In first part, we'll see about indentation, variables, accepting input from the user and for loop. In second part, we're going to discuss about list, append method and or keyword, the lower method and the upper method. In third part, we're going to see about return keyword, then about classes and objects, about constructors, then what is self keyword, and about decorators. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about indentation, about variables, then how to accept input from the user, then about for loop. Indentation. In Python, I can't stress how important the indentation is. Indentation is very important in Python. What is indentation? Indentation basically refers to the space that we give before the code in a particular line begins. Why do we use indentation? Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. Let us consider we want to print two lines like this, hello world and hello computer. So what we can do is we can write print hello world and print hello computer. So if you run the program, you will get the output here as hello world and hello computer. Now if I try to give a space here, that is this space, it is called indentation. Now if I try to indent the second line and if I run the program now, I will get the error saying that indentation error, unexpected indent. So you might ask, then when we are supposed to give indentation? For that we'll consider another program. Now if I remove this indentation and run again, we will get the output. We'll consider one more program. So what we want to do is we will check whether two numbers are equal. If those two numbers are equal, we will just print these numbers are equal, and in the immediate next line we'll print thank you, but we have to print thank you only if that two numbers are equal. So for that I'll write if 5 equal to 5. So this will just check whether two numbers are equal or not. And if I just print here these numbers are equal and run, we'll get a error saying that it is expecting a indentation. So what we'll do here is we'll indent this line by pressing tab. Now if I run the program, you can see we'll get the output these numbers are equal. Now our next task is to print thank you only if the numbers are equal. So what I'll do here is I'll just go here and type print thank you. So what this will do is this is printing thank you, but you might notice if I just change 5 to 6, now also it is printing thank you. But what we want is we want to print thank you only if those two numbers are equal. So what I can do is I can just indent this line in order to specify that it is inside if block. Only if that if statement evaluates to true, then only I'm supposed to print these two. So if I run the program again, now we can see there's no output because these two numbers are not equal. Now if I make 5 equal to 5, you can see we are getting now these numbers are equal and thank you only if the numbers are equal, otherwise you won't get any output. Variable. As you know, the definition of variable, it is the name given to a memory location where we will store the value, and we can retrieve this value at any time by mentioning the variable name. In Python, When you declare a variable, there is no need to specify what is the type of that variable. When we assign the value to a variable, Python compiler automatically detects the data type based on the value. Now let us create a variable called name, and I'll assign a value Alex to it. You can see here I'm not specifying any data type here. I'm just specifying the variable name and the value what I want to store in that variable. Now I'll try to print the value which is present in the variable name, and if I run the program I'll get the output as Alex. Now let me try to print the type of the variable name. So I'll specify type, and if I run this again I'll get the type as string. So you can see here Python compiler automatically assign the type as string to the variable name. Now let me change the value from Alex to a number 3. Now if I run the program again, you can see here Python has assigned the data type int to the variable name, and if I change the value to 2.05, you can see here the type is float now, and if I make this value as true, now we can see here the variable name is of type boolean. Python compiler is automatically assigning the data type to the variable based on the value which we are assigning to that variable. Accepting input. It is very easy to accept input in Python when compared to other languages like C, Java, etc. At the time of receiving the input, by default, every input will be taken as string. If you want, we can also convert the type of accepted value by casting it to the desired type while receiving the input. We can accept input by saying first we'll specify the variable name. So we'll take the variable name as name. Now we have to specify the input function. Okay, and in the next line I'll print whatever I'll receive through the input. So if I run the program now, it is waiting for my input. So I'll enter the name as Alex. Now if I press enter, we can see the name here. Now if you want to receive an integer, we just have to wrap this input function with the integer int, and now if I run the program again, now I can give a number as input, and we can see here it's printing that number. If you want to see the type of the input, you can just assign is of type of name. Now if I run the program again, and if I'll enter 4, now I can see here 4 is of type class integer. So we are converting the string which we have received, that is 4, to integer. Now if I remove this integer conversion, and if I run the program again, and if I give the input as 4, and if I run it, now you can see here 4 is of type class string, right? That is the default data type. For loop. For loop in Python is little bit different from for loop in other languages. A for loop is used to iterate over a sequence or to execute a code specific number of times. Usually, the for loop syntax in other languages will be like for keyword followed by these three parts, which are initialization, condition checking, and then updation part. But in Python, the for loop syntax is for keyword followed by the looping variable, then in keyword, and then the range function. The range function takes two parameters, the third one is optional, So it takes start parameter, end parameter, and increment. Increment value parameter is optional. We will consider two tasks here. So our first task would be to print the numbers from 1 to 50, and our second task is to print only the odd numbers from 1 to 50. We can do that by saying for I in range. Coming to the range function, there are three varieties of range function. First is where we'll just specify the end part, and the second one is where we will specify start and an end, and third variety is where we'll specify start, end, and an increment value. So first we'll go with just specifying an end. So I'll specify 50. After giving an indentation, I'll write print I, and I'll run this program. So you can see here we are getting the numbers only till 49, and the loop is starting from 0. The first thing which we want to do is to make the loop start from 1. So I'll go to the second version of range, that is by specifying start. So I'll specify start here. Now if I run the program again, you can see here loop is starting from 1, but it is ending at 49. Always for loop runs n minus 1 number of times. So we'll specify here 51, and if I run the program again, you can see here we are able to print the numbers from 1 to 50. So now we'll modify the code to print the odd numbers from 1 to 50. For doing that, I will use the third version of range, that is specifying the increment value. It will have a start and an end and an increment value. By default, the increment value is 1. So if I specify the increment value as 1 here, and if I run the program, I'll get the same output. So to print just the odd numbers, I'll write here 2. So what will happen here is first it will print 1, then instead of incrementing the loop by 1, it will increment the loop by 2. So it will print 3. Then it will again increment the loop by 2. So it will print 5, and so on. So now I'll run this program. You can see here it is printing the odd numbers from 1 to 50. Since 50 is even, it's not printing 50. Now if I want to just print the multiples of 5, I can specify here start as 5, end as 51, and I can increment the loop by 5, right? And if I run this program, I'll just get the multiples of 5. You can see here 5, 10, 15, 20 till 50. This was the part 1 of the Python concepts. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching.